It's a hard thing to explain, but one day I woke up and I knew I had to leave.
Everyone we saw was feeling brave. I stood there in my bowler hat. I took your hand and that was that. It felt like Mardi Gras to me. We were both happy and quite free. I stood there with my cup of tea. I looked at you, you looked at me.
I hadn't been back to Lebanon for 8 years. I was 13 the last time and had long locks and no tattoos or piercings, so I wasn't sure how my nana in Trab Laus was going to feel about my progress. Dad picked me up in a service from Beirut. He was in Lebanon with his brother Hassan to help look after Nana. My brother had flown over too after 25 long years away. The whole thing was quite impromptu and unusual considering how far apart we all lived in Australia, yet were soon to share an almost uninhabitable apartment in Tripoli. Nothing compares to driving in Lebanon. No rules, no belts. We sped past the White Castle built in rocks in Batroun, and there were moments when I thought our brakes wouldn't make it. But finally, we jolted outside Nana's apartment. It was magnificent. It was the most real I had ever felt, like I was finally home. Dad went back to bed. Everyone was still asleep. And then, out of nowhere, reality hit. I had made the biggest mistake. This wasn't my home. But all I could do was stand there, waiting for morning. When my brother woke up, we went to the maze of markets, tight alleys full of thousands of people and all kinds of shops. It wasn't every day that Trab Laus saw something like me, fresh out of the inner West Sydney bubble. So I couldn't help but feel wary. But soon realised that if only I smiled, most people smiled back. When my brother said hello, people asked about his health. But then someone called me the daughter of Satan. I laughed, but my brother didn't want to talk to anyone after that. I'd heard worse in Sydney, and soon enough someone asked if I liked heavy metal, then toured us through the laneways full of gold. It was beautiful, but all we wanted was to see if Nana was awake. When I asked her how she was since I had seen her last, she said that she couldn't stop sleeping, then asked if I ever brushed my hair. I smiled and said, "Nah." One day our cousin Hassan took us to Tanourin, mountains full of cedar trees. We saw huge green lizards, ate molasses and za'atar sandwiches, found crystals and flintstones and tried to find a hyena. We heard foxes howling and everything felt good. When we got home, Dad and Hassan were dancing, singing and almost falling over just to make Nana smile. Suddenly she got up. She even made it to the balcony. We sat there in silence till she felt cold. I loved falling asleep listening to the prayers. I slept on a mattress on the floor with a sheet and listened to a city that never slept. When it was nighttime, I didn't want to be anywhere else in the world than in my nana's salon with wafts of manouche and coffee creeping through the windows. I realised one night that this was the only home that I could ever really love. That night, I dreamt that soldiers held me captive. The sound of shelling and the ground shaking woke me up. But the sounds didn't stop.